Paul goes and provides his very own birthday surprise. I guess we're all sod experts now. Ezra reminds everyone about match play and even more this week in disc golf. What's good, disc-generates? I'm Swiss Cheese. Yeah, I got holes. But I'm also just 15 days and counting away from leaving for the greatest disc golf event ever. Moreover, I'm one half of the disc golf world. We're that disc golf YouTube channel that took over the game. It draws you in by not only their titles, but by being the fastest in the sport. But you keep returning for the amount of information we provide and just to see what we might reference next. And you guys are watching This Week in Disc Golf, where I cover all things disc golf from the past week, which was packed with final round blow-ups, scenic fjords, and hands down the greatest chase down on the season at the Masters World Championship. But we got a recap video for all of that. Instead, let's just dive into that Paul McBeth retirement post on Instagram already.
Excuse me, bitch?
Paul hit his 35th birthday with an out-of-the-blue retirement announcement. No, not anytime soon, but gave the community a full 5 years to brace for impact, which for a chunk of you listening still really isn't enough time to cope. Not to worry, I'm sure Discraft will hire him if need be. Yet this post was more than the setting of a deadline. Instead, a statement, putting the world on notice, even if he did it by yelling the word everything at us. I guess he felt it needed the emphasis. And you guys are crazy to think I'll go low enough to drop a midlife crisis line when I didn't do it for Brody. That and I just don't believe it. Paul, though he has struggled recently, still finds himself in the top 10 in DGPT points. Has 2 podiums on the season, and he still finds himself over 1040 rated. That, and I'll certainly take a motivated Paul with a shot clock now on him, as he has a legacy-setting achievement now in the balance. He's a major win away from tying Ken Climo for the most all-time. And if that were to come at USDGC, it would put him second all-time there at 4. Could you guys just picture the storylines if he came close to or actually got 2 major victories? Brody just might be the only one not to be rooting for that scenario, but still must watch for everyone else. Paul has given so much to the sport, leaving the largest global impact on the game unmatched by no other, and deserves the proper send-off. And our sport might be too broke for a statue, nor do I necessarily trust that we can handle that properly. But those courses that hold career-defining moments of Paul could provide some unique touches. Spots like D-Glow, Maple Hill, and Champions Landing, just to name a few. And for the fans, a notice that they now have limited stops remaining to witness greatness in person. Disc Golf social media has been bombarded by the progress on the Song Festival grounds, the home of this year's European Disc Golf Festival. And that's all because of the stellar reporting of Disc Golf Fanatic, sharing the before, which were Woodstock levels of a mud pit after 100,000 plus attended the Wet Music Festival. And then there was the after, laying yards of fencing, OB lines, and most importantly, sod, as the teams are doing all that they can to get the event playing ready. Truthfully, no matter the solution, even kitty litter. Yes, that was a solution that somebody provided. It was going to be criticized. But no one could really have expected discussions on how long sod takes to root or the water needed. And all because of disc golf, I can now proudly say, I now know the insulation methods also, just from the comment section alone, as many are concerned with and expect a roller rink of footing for a major, some going as far as saying it will be a disaster, ignoring the fact that the organizers and the nation's immense efforts already done in getting the grounds prepped, the limited amount of holes that were affected, and the time to pivot still if need be. And don't get me wrong, player safety needs to be put at the forefront, especially with Worlds following right after. But that also means everything and anything that can possibly benefit the grounds will definitely be thrown at it. And that's already being on full display. But truthfully, only time will tell. Last week's drug screening warning announcement for this year's Worlds was on everyone's lips, with promises of updates and interviews. Well, that interview with Doug Burkus was never to be had. And as far as that announcement, it was buried under the PDGA World page, and not the main. And had it not been for the upshot, I probably would have missed it altogether, which just might have been the point here.
What is the name of this article, and why can't I not find it on the PDGA.com?
I don't know. It's titled. I'll put the link for you, Charlie, and we can make sure to link it for the folks at home.
It's like they're hiding it. Maybe they are hiding it.
Maybe they are.
Maybe I'm just not seeing it.
Only major takeaway from the post, outside that possible drug screenings cannot be prevented, was that a positive test will not disqualify anyone from the event, but could lead to bans for future events in Finland. that at least for the ones consuming the devil's lettuce that get pinched and banned, luckily would not be long enough to impact future Elite Series events in the nation. Now that the situation seems to have been de-escalated, that is, unless the winner tests positive and a European player lands in second, as that argument could be had, but the discussion needs to shift towards what the sport's eventual future drug testing looks like, and what exactly it should be testing for. This week also had Innova not only give the USW DGC trophy the Mike Wazowski treatment, but went as far to actually airbrush it out completely in their post celebrating Evelina Salinen's past 3 victories, tossing the phallic lighthouse imagery as far as that one drunk golfer and off the post altogether. There was also the match play event that you guys all remembered right after that Ezra Robinson highlight ace came across your feed, as he kicked off his match in epic fashion with an ace on hole 1. And though Adam Hammes put up a battle, he still fell to Ezra 7-4. The other Ezra, Aderhold, confidently took down Paul 5-2. And to round out the MPO action, Nicholas Antala had a confident victory 7-2 over James Proctor, whose brutal pass-through putt might be more remembered than his round. On the FPO side, it was even more lopsided, as Kristen Lott defeated Conan Montgomery 7-1, and Holland Hanley swept Allie Smith 8-0. And though a far closer match would be had between Ella Hansen and Deanne Carey, Ella still won 6-3 there. Now, let's get to some quick hitters. And I promise to only include one Oslo pick, and that one's going to Joey Tamale's Olympic shot. We also had the 7-year anniversary of Paul's perfect round that had the best ESPN disc golf highlight ever. There were some birthdays outside Paul's like we already mentioned, as the Linz twins Morgan and Jordan celebrated theirs. And we can't forget the only dog who has more airtime and celebrity than Ajax. That's Hogan celebrating his 13th. And while we're celebrating, shout out to the Shoes, who announced their second baby is on the way with the Dr. Seuss rhyme scheme. Early congratulations goes to the soon-to-be Rathbuns as they tie the knot today. Disc golf caught some strays from an upset Padres fan. Shout out one of the best in the game, Obi Bogey, on that cut. Someone must have yelled at Eric Oakley to do a kickflip. Kevin Kiefer, and I can't forget to mention the third, may not be in Europe, but still got into character by hopping on a moped. Gavin Phillips goes fishing on his break, while Silva Saarinen did also. It was just for her disc. Need to recognize and shout out Prodigy and Team Puerto Rico, who are junior worlds bound. And guys, that wraps up this week in disc golf. Shout out to those of you on the Patreon and all of you who have stayed this long for me to thank. And like always, if you've enjoyed and not subscribed, make sure to do so. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and share.